All righty, and we're back for another episode, number 18 of our podcast. And we've got a pretty jam-packed show, actually a jam-packed week. Obviously, Tuesday we released the Who Dat over Clayton Smith. If you hadn't seen that, that's a definite one you want to go watch. One of the top recruits and possible immediate contributors for the Sooners for this fall. Definitely go check that out if you haven't. Obviously, today we're releasing it. We're recording it Tuesday, but we're releasing to you Wednesday. We got another video coming Thursday covering more recruiting, and we got another video coming Friday talking more future recruits and stuff like that. But in this one, we're going to be going over Jake Taylor announcing that he's going to make his commitment tomorrow, Wednesday. We've got some breaking news about Mikey Henderson, who's a current Sooner on the current Sooner right now, or was, and then we've got a recent commit in Jacob Sexton. That the Sooners picked up on what was it, July 4th or July 3rd that they picked him up. So jam-packed show, a bunch of hot topics to talk about. If you hadn't already, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We really appreciate all the suggestions, the interaction, the support. It's been great, and it's only getting better, and we're going to continue going as we get closer to football season. We've got some great stuff coming your way. And any suggestions as far as topics, people you'd like us to talk about, shoot us your message or your comment, whatever, and let us know what you think. Enough of that. We'll get going. One of the most recent developments is Jake Taylor. I think Jose saw it first, that he made a tweet on his Twitter saying he's going to announce his commitment tomorrow, the 7th. And for anyone that doesn't know, he's a 2022 4-star, number 286 overall, number 26 offensive tackle, according to 247 Sports. He's from Las Vegas, Nevada, another Bishop Gorman guy, which obviously we've talked about in previous videos with DeMarco Murray's ties out in that area, paying some immediate dividends potentially. He's an All-American, big frame, can add weight, very agile, imposing run blocker, can get to the second level, and definitely has some development to go, but his frame is very promising. He's planning to announce tomorrow, the 7th, or today, if you're watching this, the 7th, at 1 p.m. Central on CBS Sports headquarters. He's going to be deciding between Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama. Jose, do you have some comments on him? Any observations you've seen from him?
Yeah, definitely. Quick correction. It's 1 p.m. Pacific time. So.
Oh, is it 1 p.m. Pacific time?
I'm assuming it's, he is in Vegas. So that's the time he wanted to commit. But on his skill set more specifically, like you said, he is a big guy already, and he definitely has the opportunity to build. I mean, he's only 17, 18, so it's not like gaining weight or muscle at this point is something that anyone should be too concerned about for him. He might even get a little taller. Who knows? He's not gonna, just because he's committing to Oklahoma doesn't mean he stops growing. So he's definitely a guy that's going to be a contributor at some point. It's hard to say immediately next year unless there's something that happens with an upperclassman or a guy that's been there with the line for more than a year at this point. He'll probably be a very important piece to our line once he is there. Watching his highlight tape, he's very athletic. He gets from one side of the line to the other. He's a perfect fit for our running game. He definitely opens up the holes for the running backs, and in regards to the passing game, I know in the past couple videos when we talk about offensive linemen, the thing I keep mentioning is in high school it seems like their biggest thing is they just use their body to obviously overpower the guy on the opposite side of the ball. That wasn't the case for Jake. It definitely looked like he had a lot more developed pass protection, a lot better hands. So he's definitely not a guy that's got to develop too much. He definitely just has to get adjusted to being in college, because now he is going to play guys that are potentially bigger than him. And if they're not, they're probably just a little bit more skilled than he's ready to play. So that's going to be really where his development lies. It's just an adjustment to college rather than a full development in his pass protection, his use of his hands, making sure that he's keeping people, in good reach where he can still hold them, but still have them, at a good distance where they're not going to get off of him or potentially risk himself holding. So he's definitely a guy that, we should look forward to. Hopefully he does come to Oklahoma. It looks like every sign points to him being a Sooner. Jacob Sexton's already tweeting at him, come over here. It'd be great to have two Jakes on the team. And like you said, I mean, this just shows more not only the system that Lincoln Riley's building within his coaching staff, but how impactful DeMarco Murray is to our team right now in recruiting. He's doing a lot to make sure that we are getting a solid ground and a solid base in Vegas, specifically Bishop Gorman, his alma mater. So let's hopefully this just keeps rolling into the coming classes because I'm sure that they're not done developing high level talent. But yeah, it's going to be an exciting day, middle of the day tomorrow. I guess it'll be kind of late middle of the afternoon for us, but hopefully it's good news for us and we get another big man for Coach B.
Yeah, and that's my fault. Yeah, the article I read and the tweet, I got it mixed up. Yeah, it is 3 p.m. Central time. I don't know why they actually said 3 p.m. Central or 1 p.m. Central time, so I got confused.
No
but yeah, with him, I forgot to add his size and his stature right now. He's 6'5", 290, and I mean he's 17 years old. So I mean, maybe even he's 16. It just depends on how young he is for his class. And I mean, 6'5", 290 going into your senior year of high school. I mean, you have the frame. That's all you could ever ask for in an offensive tackle, whether it's left or right tackle, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's a good enough athlete that I think he could play either spot wherever a spot is open. And I think it's big time, if the Sooners can land him, because Stacey Wilkins has announced his transfer out of the Sooners, which I don't know where he's going, but he's leaving. Adding more depth at the tackle spot is key. Protecting Spencer Rattler, and then obviously protecting Caleb Williams, and then potentially Malachi Nelson. It's big to keep these guys upright and protect them. And we're playing more more competitive games, going to the playoffs, more better bowl games, we're bound to continue to see great pass rushers. And I will say that there is, Lincoln's been tweeting out a bunch of eyes for commitments and stuff. There is one more set of eyes that has not been accounted for, and my gut feeling is this is the unaccounted for set of eyes. So I'm pretty confident, everything I've read, I would imagine he will be pulling the trigger and being a Sooner. Coming up at 3 p.m. Obviously, we release this video at 11:30. So if you're here now, in the next 3.5 hours, keep your eyes out for it. Go on his Twitter live stream. I'm sure going to the CBS Sports Network, you'll definitely be able to catch it. But I think it's really going to come down between Oklahoma and Notre Dame. That's what I've read through his recruitment. Alabama's there just because it's Alabama. He did visit Alabama, I think, a week or two before the Sooners visit. But I just, I think it's pretty much dead set. And, with one set of eyes and he's coming out of nowhere announcing his commitment, there's a lot of stuff coming together at once. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Crazier things have happened. This is recruiting.
I think it's fair to say that Coach B is starting to get recognition from the players now, saying that this is kind of the coach you want to come play for if you're part of the offensive line. I mean, we had Wanya Morris come from Tennessee as a transfer, and now we have Jacob Sexton recently commit, potentially Jake Taylor. So, he's getting his overdue his kudos. So hopefully it just keeps going for him and we keep getting those big guys to protect your quarterbacks.
Yeah, and I mean, just because he's number 286 overall and the number 26 offensive tackle in the country, just having that frame and the athletic ability, the ceiling is enormous. It's very high, a very high ceiling guy. Just because of the stars and the numbers, it doesn't really matter. I mean, Coach B is taken guys that are 3 stars or not even ranked and turn them into NFL draft picks. I just, with the offensive line, the stars and the recruiting rankings just doesn't really bother me or I worry about it all at this point. So that's all I've got on him. Definitely something to keep your eyes on when it does happen. We'll do a follow-up video, or it'll be in one of our videos and maybe some more in depth, if he does commit to be the Sooners, we'll dive more into it. But definitely something to keep on your radar. Jose, do you have anything to add before we move on?
Nope. Let's just hope
All
he's a
right.
Sooner soon.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see tomorrow or today if you're watching this. So, most recent updated or breaking news is Mikey Henderson. And this has been something I've been seeing on boards and tweets and everything else. The rumors about Mikey Henderson being in trouble with the police. And I didn't really want to say anything. We didn't really want to say anything because it's like, it's just a rumor. You don't want to be the people that are spreading the rumors. But the rumor is no longer a thing. It is an actual it actually has happened. He now has a warrant out for his arrest. Charges were filed today. I think they're assault charges and robbery and whatever else that the Trajan Bridges Seth McGowan show incident. He has been drug into it. It sounds like he was involved, and Bridges and McGowan have, told or ratted him out, told him that he was a part of it. And as of 20 minutes ago, 8:30-ish, Lincoln Riley and the Sooners have announced that they have removed him from the team. So, so he's gone from the team. Very high. He was a very promising, extremely athletic guy. And it's unfortunate to see another Sooner get kicked off the team, but rightfully so. I mean, it's one thing to get a speeding ticket, or it's another thing to, do something just kind of goofy. It's another thing to go and assault and steal and beat someone up and, pistol whip them and whatever else. That's a whole different ballgame. So, I mean, I'm not upset that he's off the team. I'm just more upset that the talent that we've lost because of dumb decisions, it's just ridiculous that kids are flushing this much talent down the drain. What's your initial takeaway, Jose?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it's not been a great off season for speaking to a Sooners character. We were talking about it before the show. I mean, we've had, in regards to the talent that we're bringing in, it's probably the best season we've had our best off season we've had in a long time. But then you go to the bad side, and we've had 3 people off the team, 4 people arrested. I mean, or 3 people officially arrested, 1 person that right now has a warrant out for their arrest. It's not a good look. I think right now that's got to be the biggest thing that Lincoln and the coaching staff need to address is, we're trying to build a good culture, and we're just bad seeds that we didn't pick up during the whatever during the recruiting process, or we didn't identify and try to address the problem early on. So it's definitely something that they gotta look into and have a better feel for the locker room. You can't control what these kids do outside of your locker room, outside of practice. So it's just kind of maybe just having a better understanding of what's going around. Maybe even having better captains. I think that's kind of where the captains come into play for sports is, the captains, if they recognize something that's going bad, they either got to address it with their teammates and tell them that they need to shape up, or go tell a coach if they don't want to, if they're not someone that's confrontational like that, just say, hey coach, I heard this is happening. You may want to look into it, something like that. But it's not a good look. I think that's the biggest criticism that any OU hater or anyone that just from the outside looking in, that Lincoln Riley right now seems to have a program that is very much looking like the early 2000s Miami squad rather than a Bob Stoops team that maybe had their imperfections but never had this many arrests, I would say, in one single summer. So let's just hope that things turn around. Unfortunate for the kids. I mean, I don't want to say that, good riddance, because they are just 19, 20-year-olds, but they got to make better decisions, and hopefully someone gives them a second chance, but they just can't be part of the OU program if they're going to do the things like that.
Yeah, they very well might end up like on a last chance going to East Mississippi or Independence Community College or something like that. It's tough to see, but I'm glad that Lincoln has been not comfortable. He's been easy on them as far as if it's like marijuana, and which rightfully so. I mean, it's not that bad, but when you're doing something like this, you have to make an example out of it, regardless who it is, whether it's Spencer Rattler or the furthest guy down the depth chart and the walk-on. They got to go.
Yeah.
And especially if you've got evidence and charges and confessions and probably some video or pictures of what happened. I mean, there's enough reasonable, they're confident enough to remove the kids. It probably did happen.
Yeah.
Um,
There's
but I
got to
will
be a
say is,
line,
yeah, there has
once
to
you're
be a line.
harming someone else, like you can't be part of this program anymore.
Yeah, and I will say, going back to Bob Stoops, the whole Joe Mixon deal, if that were to happen right now, I don't think Lincoln would let him stay on the team. I
I don't
really
think so
don't.
either.
I think, that whole deal, Joe's a fantastic player, but I think if a kid did that now, I think they'd be off the team. But sometimes things change, and over time your expectations change as well. But I will say, as far as going back to the Sooners football team and the running back roster, I mean, the depth is there, obviously, after the transfer and Kennedy Brooks coming back. You've got Eric Gray, Kennedy Brooks, Marcus Major, and then the Sooners picked up Trey Bradford, which we did a whodunit on him 3 weeks ago. Great one. If you hadn't checked that one out, definitely go take a view at it. And then you got Marcus Major, and then you got Jaden Knowles, which Jaden Knowles, yeah, he probably won't see the roster a whole lot, but I was at the spring game, and Knowles played pretty well. And I know it's a spring game, you have to take it with a grain of salt, but the depth is there. You've got a number one and 1A, Kennedy Brooks, Eric Gray, and then Trey Bradford, great, high ceiling, Marcus Major, solid player. I was almost thinking when they got Trey Bradford, looking back in hindsight, do you think they had an idea that this could have been a possibility? Obviously, McGowan was already gone, and we kind of thought that they got Trey Bradford because McGowan was gone, and maybe so, but do you think they also thought that there was a chance that there could be another player involved? I mean, we'll never know, but
I would hope
I
not.
mean,
I would hope that's not the case if they know that some kid is potentially involved in an armed robbery. They're trying to cover it, but I mean, we never know. You got
yeah.
coaches have to do
Well,
what they need to do to win.
Well, it might not be it might not have been them covering it up. It could have been Henderson saying, "No, man, I wasn't there. I was doing this and this and this." And then the police have finally put it all together and said, "Okay, well, you obviously are lying, and this is what you're doing." And because we've got, people are testifying and whatnot. Yeah. So I'm not saying that the Sooners were covering it, but it almost makes you wonder, maybe they did have an idea that there was a chance that Henderson was getting investigated. And then, because if they weren't, and they were assuming Mikey Henderson was going to be on the team, that depth, Henderson barely even saw the field last year. I mean, he was electric when he was on the field, but adding Trey Bradford, that buried him even further. And I really think if that would have happened, he would have stayed on the team, nothing would have happened, he wouldn't have been kicked off. I think he would have been in the transfer portal after this season. I don't think he would have seen the field. So it's either you lose him now and he, because of a dumb decision, and, you lose some depth, or most likely the Sooners would have lost him in the transfer portal. So it's not a big hit. It's more of a depth hit. And it's sad to see just this kind of talent go down the tubes, but he might get a second chance in the junior college, and someone might pick him up, and he might get, some misdemeanor charges and community service and a fine, and he might be all right. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to see. I'm glad Lincoln drew the line in the sand, and, if for any other kid that comes in and does that, you need to be held to the same standard. And I think he will. So
yeah, it's about time.
Because I think Riley knows that we can't be having this many arrests every year, because it's not a good look, like you said.
Yeah.
So,
and right now we're lucky.
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, right now we're lucky at just local news. If this was to become a reoccurring thing, it would definitely start becoming national news, and how bad of a program Lincoln Riley's running, and just because it would start unraveling into, assassination on Lincoln's character, rather than what he's putting out on the field, which is obviously probably one of the best offensive minds probably in the last 2 or 3 decades, maybe even ever, for college football. Yeah. So definitely something. It's good that he drew the line there, because it would not have looked good further in his career.
Yeah. So that's it. I don't think there's really any more development. I think that's the last I want to talk about Bridges, McGowan, and Henderson on this podcast, because they're no longer part of the team, and hopefully there's no more people that are going to be involved. I'd imagine at this point, if there were, it would have came out by this point.
It would have been a freaking clown car full if it were.
They probably drove over in a clown car. So anyway, okay, we'll move on to the final topic. If you guys hadn't seen, which I'd imagine most of you guys have, Jacob Sexton. He's a 2022 four-star offensive tackle out of Edmond. He plays at Deer Creek. He committed to the Sooners on was it July 4th? I think it was. Or was it July 3rd? I don't know why. The 3rd. Yeah, I knew one of them was on the 3rd. And he committed to the Sooners. Great video. With the whole man cave out in the barn and going back and forth. And it was great to see that the Sooners kept a kid home, obviously after losing an in-state kid to the Cowboys, and then potentially Chris McClellan going to Ohio State. That hurts too. So it's good to see an in-state kid stay with the Sooners. And I will say that I think this was a lot closer than people think as far as between OU and Texas. Those were the two main schools. His sister does go to Oklahoma, but his dad is a diehard Texas Longhorn fan. And I think more of his family is too. So I really think they enjoyed their trip down in Austin. From what I saw, he was kind of upset that the Sooners didn't invite him to the Champ U barbecue. But on his visit, I think he came a couple days after the barbecue. Obviously, things smoothed out. I think he committed on that unofficial trip or official trip, whichever it was, right after the Champ U barbecue. He was one of the first sets of eyes that Lincoln tweeted out after the barbecue. It must have been one of those deals where they told him, he was like, well, we didn't invite you because we wanted to focus on you. So, you're a priority, yada, yada, yada. That's what I'm guessing that they told him. And it probably is true. There has to be some reasoning why they wouldn't invite him other than to focus on him more. What are you thinking?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's very possible that he was a high priority. We do need to start keeping more in-state talent. So very likely. Maybe it's also a capacity issue. They knew he was coming later on and they didn't, they had their focus on someone else. A lot of reasons that could have happened, but at the end of the day, he's a Sooner. Not only did he make the right choice, but it's for a part of our offense that needs to continue being great. Like we said, when it came to Jake Taylor, Coach B is starting to be recognized by the players and potentially more nationally within the coaching ranks that this guy is going to develop professional level talent when it comes to being a part of his offensive line. So Jake definitely should have a good career moving forward. I think he'll probably end up being a guard just because of the development that he would have to go through. Doesn't seem like something that's going to come very naturally potentially. And if it does, it might not come for a few years. So, we'll have to see where he ends up playing, but I would expect him to be a guard, hopefully alongside Jake Taylor, and they can just destroy one side of the line while whoever pairs up on the other takes care of that.
Yeah, I'll say we did dive more into Jacob Sexton as far as his ability and what we like, what we don't like. I mean, there's not a whole lot to not like. I mean, obviously, but we went more in depth in the previous podcast. I believe that was released on Thursday prior. So it was Thursday, the 1st of July, I believe. If you hadn't seen that video, definitely go in there. We did talk more about him, because we were leading up to his announcement date. So if you're interested in that, definitely check it out. But it's exciting to keep in state, and very athletic guy and can play. If I remember right, I think you said that he played every position except center in high school.
Yeah, he's very versatile.
Yeah. So, any spot, if we have an injury or something happens other than center, it sounds like he could potentially step in an emergency situation, or Coach B can groom him wherever he needs him to. But so it's exciting to see. That's all I've got on him, and about all I've got on this episode. So, Jose, do you have any final comments or anything like that?
No, just talking about in-state, I think the next big focus for Lincoln is going to be Gentry Williams. It seems like he's starting to lean heavily to be a Trojan, which the NIL might have been a big factor for him to go over there, where there's a lot of money to be made in California, and if he's a star there, that's going to be a good place to go for money. But I think that's the next guy that we should all keep an eye out to see if Lincoln's able to switch his lean from USC back to Oklahoma, where it originally was.
Yeah, I know he's planning to come down. He's got I think he's coming at the end of this month, July 31st, for the Champ U Barbecue Part 2. And then I think he's got another visit lined up, I think, for the Nebraska game. So he's going to be on campus 2 more times, and I don't expect him to commit before he's done with those 2 visits. So people need to pause, pump the brakes on the panic button. I'm not saying he couldn't be a Trojan, but OU's going to get a couple more cracks at him. And success on the field might play a big role in his decision coming this fall. And I would imagine the Sooners will have a better season than the Trojans will. So that might help.
For sure.
So anyway, that's all we've got. We really appreciate if you made it this far. Make sure to like this video, subscribe. We just released, obviously, the Clayton Smith one on Monday, the Who Dat. We're releasing this one today. We're releasing another one covering Xavier Bryce and Derek Moore and Robert Spears Jennings on their commitments to the Sooners on the defensive side of the ball. Thursday. Friday, we've got more recruiting stuff to look forward to. I mean, the month of July is packed between 2022 and 2023. Make sure to keep your notifications on for that, because those videos will be coming out here in the next couple days, and just a very busy time. So we really appreciate the support, and just keep following along. Any suggestions, let us know. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.